Engineering a modern superpower from the ground up is one of the most difficult tasks in human history. If you look at the sheer scale and the complexity required, the statistical math is entirely against you. In 1947, the newly independent India inherited hundreds of millions of citizens across an incredibly diverse territory. But it also inherited a total developmental vacuum, with almost no modern industrial or educational infrastructure to support them. The central question of that era was simple. How does a newborn nation of this size manage to unify into a functional state, rather than fracturing under its own weight? During those initial years, progress was defined by sheer structural survival. The goal was to keep the lights on and the borders intact. Jawaharlal Nehru served as the first architect. He realized that a nation without its own expertise would always be dependent on others, so he set out to lay the bedrock for an indigenous intellectual class. Beyond establishing democratic roots, Nehru saw that the country needed a domestic brain trust to design and manage its own future. He focused heavily on scientific development, leading to the creation of the Indian Institutes of Technology. These were designed to produce a steady stream of elite engineers who could solve India's technical problems from within. By training this intellectual capital, Nehru provided the technical foundation that allowed every subsequent stage of Indian development to actually function. However, an internal foundation is only effective if the country can defend it. By the late 1960s, it was clear that a volatile regional landscape posed a constant threat to the nation's survival. Indira Gandhi took on the role of the decisive leader required to navigate these external shocks and project Indian power onto the world stage. Her primary test was the 1971 war. By managing the military and diplomatic fallout of the conflict, she oversaw the creation of Bangladesh and definitively resolved a major regional threat. This victory moved India away from the status of a vulnerable newborn. The nation emerged as the unignorable anchor of power in the region. As the new millennium approached, the country faced a double bottleneck. It needed a global security guarantee and a way to physically tie its vast internal markets together. Atal Bihari Vajpayee addressed both. He focused on building both the nation's sovereign defenses and its physical connectivity. In 1998, he authorized nuclear tests in the desert, a move that established India as a global force with a credible, independent deterrent. At the same time, he launched the massive Golden Quadrilateral. This massive highway project finally linked India's major economic hubs, physically unifying the domestic market for the first time. Vajpayee effectively built a nuclear shield to protect the state while paving the arteries required to move its goods and people. But even with roads and security, the economy remained stagnant. Decades of restrictive, closed-market policies were preventing the country's massive population from generating actual wealth. Manmohan Singh was the financial architect tasked with breaking this economic gridlock. This chart shows India's GDP since independence. In 1991, Singh's sweeping reforms dismantled restrictions, opening the economy to the global market. The result was immediate. As GDP climbed, foreign investment arrived, and the middle class expanded at unprecedented rates. These reforms transformed India's population into one of the world's most powerful consumer engines, fueled by private enterprise and global trade. The challenge for the 21st century was one of scale. How do you ensure that over 1 billion people are actually integrated into this new, fast-moving economy? Narendra Modi led the push to bring the entire population into a unified digital and financial system. Through the Digital India initiative, the state built a massive infrastructure for digital identities and banking. This allowed millions of people to access government services and the formal economy directly through their phones. This unified digital market has become a significant source of leverage. By organizing its billion-plus consumers into a single, accessible digital block, India has made itself an indispensable partner for global tech and trade, allowing the administration to negotiate a far more influential position in international affairs. India's trajectory as a global power is the direct result of these specific, consecutive layers of engineering. From Nehru's scientific institutions to the digital integration of today, modern India is the product of a deliberate generational relay race. Jai Hind.